Other than a couple luxury cars, usable electric three-row SUVs pretty much didn't exist until the Kia EV9 came along. This is our Kia EV9, the car we've had for the last 12 months as part of our one-year road test fleet, which includes about 20 or so other vehicles too. In that time, tons of folks on our staff have driven the EV9. It's been everything from a commuter to a family hauler and everything in between. We've gotten to know this car way better than we could have with just a few hours at the dealership and a test drive. We're gonna tell you everything, and there's a lot of good here, but we do have a few complaints too. And of course, we'll dive into how much our maintenance costs were and what the car is worth after a year and roughly 8,500 miles of driving. All right, let's get into it. Most automakers don't put in a ton of effort when it comes to things like headrest comfort. That's not the case here. These mesh headrests are absolutely wonderful. They're like cushy little hammocks for my head. It's little bits of extra effort like that that really make this interior feel special and luxurious. Kia really paid attention to all the details in here, and honestly, they nailed the execution.
You know those little motors that control like the seats and the windows? In the EV9, they are almost silent. It's little details like that that just add up and make the car feel really well thought out.
We also like that while yes, the EV9 does have these big digital displays up front like many other EVs, you can still get a lot done without taking your eyes off the road because there's plenty of physical controls around. Plus, again, unlike many other EVs, the EV9 has standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The interior looks great without any of that touchscreen only minimalist nonsense. It just works.
There's so many details that are fun, that are different than your regular car. This feels like almost a living room.
And it feels just as nice for passengers as it does for the driver. Materials in the back of the car are just as top-notch as they are up front, and there's cup holders and USB ports at every seat. Plus, it's easy to get into the third row thanks to this one-touch mechanism, and there's plenty of space back there.
One of the things I liked about the Kia EV9 is that even in the third row, you can fit people that are pretty tall. I had a couple of 6-foot people sit in the back for a short distance, and they were able to fit just fine. Even the headroom was good, and that's not something that you could do with a Tesla Model Y or X because of the way the roof is shaped.
But of course, if you buy an EV9, you're gonna spend most of your time behind the wheel, and thankfully, that's a pretty great time too, largely thanks to its comfort and power.
As the daily driver of a Subaru Ascent, the EV9 was a major upgrade. I was a little worried. It seemed big, but it didn't feel nearly as big when I was behind the wheel. It was very comfy. I felt very coddled on my drive down the 405.
And there's a lot of great driving tech here that makes your life just a bit easier. Kia makes a lot of great stuff standard on the EV9, and especially on this well-equipped GT-Line trim. Some of the features really stood out.
The EV9's 360-degree surround view camera system is phenomenal. Its big, high-resolution picture takes up the whole screen, and I love that it has a dedicated camera button. That's a feature that I use often because you want to see what's around you, not only when you're going in reverse. I also really enjoy Kia's blind spot monitor system in the instrument cluster. All this good tech just makes driving easier.
We were also impressed by the adaptive cruise control and the system's ability to change lanes automatically. And you'll be able to cover a solid amount of ground here. As far as three-row electric SUVs go, the EV9's range is good, and it has super fast charging capabilities.
I took a road trip in the EV9 with my family, and when the range started running low, I found a charger near my hotel, and I spent about half an hour there taking some much needed alone time to add back over 200 miles of range to the vehicle. EV9's fast charging really makes a difference. Half an hour I can get away for. If it had been an hour, it would have been a real hassle.
On the right charger, you can get from 10 to 80% in less than 25 minutes, which is seriously impressive. One of our EV9's hardest challenges in the last year was a comparison test against the excellent Rivian R1S, and the Kia came out on top. It's not better at everything, but the EV9 is so well-rounded and likable that it's easy for us to recommend. So easy to recommend, in fact, that we gave it our top-rated Best of the Best award for 2024. And it's still our top-rated electric SUV for 2025. There's just so much to like here. Style, space, tech, comfort, range, build quality, you name it. So yeah, the EV9 is pretty fantastic, but as great as it is, there's still some room for improvement. Come on now, Let's keep it together, keep us in our lane. It's not that hard. Some of the driver aids are great. The adaptive cruise control, the auto lane change, the 360 camera, the blind spot camera, love them. Kia's lane centering, however, it's just not very good at handling curves, and something about the tuning just doesn't quite feel right. It's too aggressive.
So the lane keeping system in the EV9 is just not it. The problem is if it feels even a slight nudge from your hand, the steering assistance cuts out completely. But then at the same time, you have to have your hands on the steering wheel for the system to be working to begin with. So sometimes it's just so touchy-feely that I don't even bother turning it on.
We had a couple nitpicks with the tech and usability inside too. Like we said, the EV9 is mostly good here, but there are a few things that you could shrug off in a test drive that would certainly start to wear on you after a full year of ownership. Like these buttons.
It's cool how the buttons shine through the dash instead of being a physical button. I like that, it's very smooth, very sleek, whatever. And it's cool that they give you some tactile feedback so the system lets you know that it registered your input. But you have to be really specific where you press. That's annoying. And it's in prime real estate. That's where I like to anchor my thumb so I can make more accurate touch inputs when I'm on the go. I hope they can fix this.
And that's not the only issue with these buttons. In direct sunlight, they're almost completely washed out, which makes them really hard to use on a sunny day. We also came across a couple of ergonomic issues, mainly that certain frequently used controls can be weirdly hard to see. We've had a similar problem in vehicles like the new Toyota Prius, where part of the gauge cluster is blocked by the steering wheel, but here in the EV9, the problems start just about as soon as you get into the car.
I really don't like where the starter button is placed on the EV9. It's on this little stalk that juts out from the steering column, and every time I get in, I have to either fumble around with the thing or crane my neck to see where it is to start it up. Also, that little climate control screen that's in between the instrument cluster and the infotainment screen is completely useless. It's also perfectly blocked by the steering wheel, and you might as well just press the button to bring up the controls on the main display because the buttons are too small to press anyway.
Some of those controls you'll get used to with some more time behind the wheel, but that climate screen, that is still annoying no matter what. Speaking of, many EV owners, or even friends of EV owners, know or have heard about how difficult and annoying public charging can be. Now, that's no fault of the EV9 itself, but it is a reality of EV ownership right now.
The EV9 is a great electric SUV as long as you can stay relatively close to home. We took one just 90 minutes out of town to Santa Barbara and quickly discovered the realities of charging on anything but the supercharger network. Slow charge speeds, inability to pair, error codes, and this is in the heart of Southern California. If it's not good here, the infrastructure is not good anywhere.
Good news is the Tesla supercharger network has actually just recently been opened up to all Kia EVs. And any buyers who purchase their Kia EV after September 2024 will get adapters for free. That's huge. Tesla superchargers are way more common than other charging stations like EVgo or Electrify America, and they're more reliable too. So hopefully that'll make charging a lot easier for folks that can't do it at home. One of the major benefits of EVs is that they have fewer moving parts, which means there's potential for increased reliability and lower maintenance cost. So how'd this guy do? We've had no real problems with our EV9. Now granted, it's only got about 8,500 miles on it, which means there's been fewer chances for things to go wrong, especially compared to some other vehicles in our fleet that have closer to 12 or 15,000 miles. Still, no error codes, no unplanned dealer visits, no recalls. Last year we owned a Chevy Blazer EV for about the same amount of miles, and let's just say things were quite a bit more dramatic.
We've had so many problems with this car.
Our nitpicks here still stand, but they're much easier to forget about in a car that's never given us any mechanical trouble. At over $75,000, our EV9 GT-Line was, at the time, the most expensive vehicle Kia had ever sold. That can be a hard number to swallow, especially for a brand that built its name on value, but remember, you can easily spend more money on something like a Chevy Tahoe that has a similar amount of interior space. So, was the Kia worth it? The short answer is a resounding yes. The interior and overall build quality are more than on par with the car's price point, and it's way, way better than something like our older Tesla Model Y. Plus, the range and fast charging speeds are more than competitive with other electric SUVs like the Rivian R1S. The comfort and noise levels are also on par with other vehicles around $75,000, so yeah, it's worth the money. Even the $65,000 version delivers a lot of what we like about the EV9, but we do think the GT-Line is worth ponying up the extra cash. As for what it's worth now, when we brought it into a dealer for appraisal, they offered us $52,000. That's really good. Sure, losing $25,000 in a year never feels great, but that's a much lower depreciation than what we've seen from other EVs in our one-year road test fleet. So what have we learned? We bought this EV9 because it impressed us so much in our initial round of testing that it won our highest honor Top Rated award. That recognition is a celebration of a great vehicle, but we're just trying to help regular people figure out what car to buy. So we wanted to put it under even more scrutiny and see if it truly holds up and still deserves our endorsement after a full year of hard testing. And
you get 3 rows in an SUV that puts luxury SUVs from just a few years ago to shame. It's great.
The EV9 is top rated because of how spacious it is inside, and it's super comfy ride.
It fits anyone. You can have a family, you can be an active couple, you can be on your own, and you'll enjoy the EV9 the same.
From its technology to its highly functional interior, everything is easy to use.
The EV9, really simply put, is still the best electric 3-row on sale today. The market is starting to catch up, the alternatives are getting closer and closer, but as of right now in this moment, that's still the best one.
Kia and Hyundai's EV Tech is some of the best in the mainstream segment, and they put it in a package that is useful for families and just feels nice.
I love this thing, and honestly, I'm really gonna miss it. What do you think? Are you in the market for a 3-row electric vehicle? Would you rather check out Volkswagen's electric van, the ID Buzz? Tell us below in the comments. We read them all.